Shadows of Needlepoint. I never planned to become a monster. I joined the force because my brother overdosed when I was 15, and I wanted to stop the people who put poison in his veins. Maybe that sounds noble. It isn't. It was rage. Pure, unfiltered, blinding rage. That rage still drives me, though I wear it like a second skin now, polished with calm and cold smiles. My name's Michael Hart, but on the street, I'm known as Ghost. No one remembers seeing me come. No one remembers seeing me go. And that's exactly how I like it. 3 months ago, I got assigned a case that would take everything I had and more. Needlepoint, a neighborhood that used to be working class until meth and heroin stripped it down to bones. A place where streetlights flicker out by 10 p.m. and screams blend into the night like part of the landscape. The locals call it the Black Mile, because if you walk through it at midnight, you don't come back. What brought me there was a new drug, Red Needle. It was showing up in overdoses across the city. People found with their faces contorted in wide, unnatural grins, eyeballs exploded from pressure, and their fingertips worn down to the bone like they'd been digging. Some reports said they were laughing when they died. Screaming, too, but mostly laughing. Lab tests couldn't identify half the chemical components. DEA was stumped. Whatever it wasn't cooked by your average back-alley chemist. The only thing they knew for sure, it was coming out of Needlepoint. So I went in. I posed as a drifter from Detroit, someone with a record, someone with nothing to lose. Took on a fake name, Jonas Cade, and had the tattoos and attitude to match. Grew a beard, wore the smell of cigarettes and whiskey like armor. And when I stepped into Needlepoint, the city seemed to inhale me. It started slow. I hung around the bars where dealers flirted with death. I made a few contacts, bought small amounts of regular stuff, meth, coke, whatever they'd sell me, built a reputation, got in a few fights, made sure people saw me win. By week 3, I'd been approached by a recruiter. His name was Dwight. Bald head, gold tooth, and the look of someone who'd never known a mother's love. He wore a puffer jacket in July, and his fingernails were yellowed like old parchment. He asked me one question before inviting me deeper into the fold. "You like to see people squirm?" I didn't flinch, just smiled. "Yeah," I said. "It's the only time you know they're still alive." He grinned like I passed a test I didn't know I was taking. That night he brought me to the church. It wasn't a real church, just an abandoned cathedral on 9th and Mulberry, one of those old stone buildings that still had stained glass. But the saints' faces had been busted out and replaced with mirrors, cracked ones. You could see yourself in 1,000 jagged pieces walking down the pews. In the center was a man in a chair, naked, tied up with barbed wire. His eyes were sewn shut. $50, Dwight said, handing me a curved knife, and you get to take a piece. I didn't hesitate. I dragged the blade across the man's thigh, shallow, just enough to draw blood. He didn't scream. He just grinned. That was my real initiation. I learned later that the man had been dosed with Red Needle. Once it kicks in, pain becomes pleasure, at least for a little while. Then the seizures start. Then the hallucinations, then the laughter, then the begging, then death. By week 4, I was running with them, watching shipments, cleaning up bodies, selling vials to addicts who begged like dogs. But what really scared me was the factory. They didn't call it that, of course. They called it the Hollow. It sat on the outskirts of Needlepoint, tucked behind a burned-out warehouse. No signs, no lights, just a concrete bunker with a single steel door. Inside, it stank of ammonia and rotting meat. I saw things in there that didn't make sense. Rows of cages. People chained inside, not just addicts, children, pregnant women, old men with eyes scratched out. They used them for something. Some were alive. Others were stitched together, mouth to mouth, like obscene centipedes. A guy named Leo once told me they could distill certain chemicals from the adrenaline and dopamine flooding a person's system when they're in extreme fear, that it made Red Needle more potent. I saw one guy, Leo whispered once, saw his skin get up and walk away from him, just left him sitting there, bones and all. That's when I realized this was more than just drugs. This was ritual. Dwight was a street-level brute, but higher up, there were people I never saw. Names whispered. Mother and the Red Shepherd. I thought it was junkie paranoia until I heard it from 3 different dealers who'd never met. They'd say the shepherd walked barefoot through the factory, humming lullabies. That the drug wasn't just made. It was born. I wanted to pull the plug then, call it in, burn the place to the ground. But the department needed proof. Names, locations, evidence. That's when I started wearing the wire. And that's when things really went to hell. It started with the dreams. I'd see my brother, Tyler, standing at the foot of my bed, skin blistered, eyes gone. He'd open his mouth and hundreds of tiny needles would pour out like worms. He'd say, "It's not a drug, Mikey. It's a seed." I'd wake up choking on blood that wasn't mine. I started to hear voices when I walked down alleys, saw people who weren't there, felt things crawling under my skin. Dwight noticed, said I was awakening. "You've been touched," he said, like it was some sacred thing. "Mother sees you." I got jumped a few nights later, bag over my head, dragged into the hollow. They tied me up and injected me with Red Needle. The world didn't go red, it went black. And in that blackness I saw them, not people, things, slender, long-limbed creatures with skin stretched tight across their skulls. No mouths, just teeth in spirals. They circled me, whispering without sound. One of them reached into my chest and pulled out a string of memories. My mom's voice, my badge number, my name. It unraveled like yarn. When I woke up, I was on the floor of the church, naked. The mirrors showed nothing, not even me. But I remembered who I was. Barely. That's when I called it in. Whispered into the wire, even though I knew by then it might not even be working. "Blow it up," I said. "Burn it down. Now." The team came in fast. SWAT, DEA, a full-blown task force. But they didn't find the hollow. Just an empty lot. No factory, no cages, no bodies. Just concrete soaked in something black and pulsing. And me. I was found sitting in the middle of a pentagram, muttering in tongues, covered in blood. They took me into custody. I passed the psych eval, barely. My story checked out as far as drug activity went. There were seizures, arrests, half the ring got caught. But no one ever found Mother. No one ever found the shepherd. And no one ever found the drug. The reports say I was compromised, that I got too deep, that I hallucinated the rest. They closed the case, told me to retire, start over. But every night I see those creatures again. I feel the needle in my arm. I hear my brother's voice in the static when the TV turns on by itself. And last week, I got a package. No return address. Inside, a single syringe filled with a red shimmering liquid. Taped to it was a note. "We remember you." I flushed it down the sink, but it didn't feel like enough. My skin still itches, my bones still ache, and sometimes when I look in the mirror, I see nothing, just a grin, the kind you die with. So if you're reading this, if you're thinking about going undercover, remember this. Some drug rings aren't just about profit. Some are about transformation. And some things, once you touch them, never let go.